No, this is not a phone sex service. This is a clothing label.
All my 18 double D customers want to be 12B. What am I to do?
Everybody wants the same fabric at the same time. It drives me my sugar.
They all want their suits yesterday.
I try to give the ladies new styles, but all they want to do is wear the same old schmutters.
You've got to have a little muzzle. Good luck, it opens up the door. And if you've got some muzzle, then the whole world will be yours. But if you've got no muzzle, although you're on the ball, you try and try, but you can't get by. Beat your head against the wall. Don't you ever try to figure out who seems to be to blame. You know, some folks, they got a million, but they can't even write their name. That's why you gotta have a little muzzle. Good luck, it opens up the door. And if you've got some muzzle, then the whole world will be yours.
What is it about the shmatte trade that's attracted the Jewish people? Is it an inheritance from the European shtetl? Or could it be that amidst the fabulous fickle world of fashion, there's the promise of a little bit of mazel?
Robert, tell me who the first shmatte merchant was in Melbourne. I'm really fascinated by the history of it.
I think it was Lesley Sharon. He started at the turn of the century in Flinders Lane, producing ladies' white underwear. And he also employed many migrants. And as he and many of his employees were very religious, they used to stop twice daily, morning and afternoon, saying davening shachris and mincha.
We started about 4 generations ago, just before the turn of the century. My uncle Laser was making these lovely bloomers.
Claustrophobia.
I know, and you had to squish yourself into it and pretend what was there wasn't there. And I've come into the business, first woman, and brought these lovely sets, bra and brief sets, lots of G-strings, plenty of colour and fun.
This is just me.
I
want
know.
one of these for my next day.
Yeah. This is just me for Collingwood.
From 1960 to 1989, I ran the Leon Haskin label. We ran party and evening wear. Flinders Lane was a fabulous comfort zone for Jewish people.
Yeah.
Everyone knew everyone. Some of the places stopped for morning and afternoon prayers, but everyone knew everyone. For many Jews to get into Flinders Lane gave them a sense of belonging. It was, maybe took them back into a ghetto, but it was a ghetto of their own choosing.
Another famous character in the lane was Albert Edson. He came from America and produced very smart coats, ladies' coats. He himself was also very smartly dressed, usually wearing a red waistcoat and always carrying some handmade cigars in his top pockets. And when I retired, he came to see me and he said, Robert, always remember, it doesn't make any difference whether you are a millionaire or you just live like one.
There was a lot of good people in the lane, but there was a few baddies, and there was one very well-known fireman. He wasn't one that put them out, he was the one that started them.
On Friday, the girls used to work in the factory with their curlers in their hair.
Why was that?
Well, they were going out at night and wanted to look glamorous, and even going to the pictures, they used to wear long dresses.
The lane was infested with rats because of the wharves being closed, and so rat catchers used to come in at least once a month, and the rats, they put the fox terriers under the floorboards and brought up rats. It was 20 and 30 rats had come up at a time, and each building in the lane was infested with them.
In those days, there was no air conditioning, and there was a remarkable sight that in summer, when it really was hot, The girls took off their dresses and worked in their slips.
When I was little and Mum used to take me down Flinders Lane, there used to be her friends who had the factory with the clothes, the other one had the belt factory, and she used to schlep me along past these open doorways, and inside there were these beds and people resting on it. Later I found out they were opium dens.
Oh my
So
God.
next door to the conservative people, you know, sneering away and making the belts, here were these other people in La La Land. They're gone now. It's all gone. There's no schmatters left in Flinders Lane. They've been moved out.
When my father retired, he asked me to take over the business. I said, no way. I want to be a mum and have lots of children.
Well, my grandparents are all involved in the fashion industry. They gave me a sewing machine for my 10th birthday. Meet Gingy Lally Goldberg.
My mum had a shop, and my father was on the market, on Victoria Market.
But my father worked for Aid of California, swimwear, and that all got wiped out like about that last recession we just had. Yeah. And I was there and I cried.
Both my parents were in schmatters, and they were in the more mature aged wares, and hence I got into that as well. And this is how we sell our garments. We do fashion parades.
All of our garments are Australian made.
These bubbers, they can't get the styles that they want in the retail stores, so they come to the warehouse and they have a ball.
Evelyn, how come you're still in the schmatters?
Well, my husband went out to buy a cigar and came back with a shop. Now have 3 shops and 3 children.
Well, I had a lot of male colleagues that were asking for my advice on clothing, and they didn't know where to go or what the look was. So in the end, they just said, Simone, here's my credit card, go and do it for me. And I did. And that's where the idea sprung from.
Ari, how did you think of a name like this for a clothing label?
I woke up one morning and had a good look in the mirror. Since I started, the idea was to be different, and we have achieved that with things like logos, colours, slogans, and it's all part of changing the system which was in fashion.
Our label was elegance, and we always tried to live up to the name. And this is one of our dresses I kept because it belonged to my wife.
I started designing for the young girl, and we started wholesaling our garments, and then we opened up 2 shops, and it just took off from there.
I'm really passionate about becoming a top fashion designer. Friends say fashion design isn't a real profession. I say, who needs 3 million doctors?
But I didn't ever think I was part of a schmatter industry. Yeah. Neither did I ever think I would get there.
Leon, do you think there's a certain amount of mazel involved in the schmatters?
I don't know whether mazel. I think the majority of people were attracted to it because they didn't have a university education and it was a relatively easy trade to get into.
So you've had a lot of mazel?
Yeah, we've had a lot of muzzle. It's been good.
Good.
Touch wood.
Well, you need more than... You need muzzle in all businesses, but in the clothing industry, I think you need more than muzzle.
Why is that?
Well, it's a very volatile industry. You're sort of here today and gone tomorrow.
Certainly need a lot of muzzle, determination to succeed, hard work, and as well, pretty models.
After 20 years, there's no muzzle in schmatters.
They used to say that everybody in the fashion industry will go to heaven when they die, because whilst they were in business, they all experienced hell.
You've got to have a little muzzle. Good luck, it opens up the door. And if you've got some muzzle, then the whole world will be yours. But if you've got no muzzle, although you're on the ball, You try and try, but you can't get by. Beat your head against the wall. Don't you ever try to figure out who seems to be to blame. You know, some folks, they got a million, but they can't even